I'll be ranking every art style from Dragon Ball's animes from the pinnacle of Z tier, the best, to F tier, the worst. In this video, we'll focus on the different art styles that the Dragon Ball franchise has gone throughout its years. Watch till the very end as we journey through the highs and lows, exploring the styles from Dragon Ball all the way to Super, and finally, the new series, Dragon Ball Daima. Dragon Ball's art style remains quite consistent throughout the series' run, though it does evolve subtly over time. In the beginning, the style is very simple, cartoonish and nostalgic, perfectly matching the more lighthearted adventurous tone of early Dragon Ball. Characters are given rounded, soft shapes with minimal detailing. Almost everyone has large, rounded eyes, button noses, cute, simplified designs, and a chubby body for the smaller characters, even as they grow up a little. This creates a very animated, comic book-like look. Backgrounds also remain fairly simple, with flat basic coloring and little environment detailing. This simplistic art creates a wonderful sense of childhood fantasy. The exaggerated expressions are perfect for the humorous moments while also being able to shift into tense action scenes. As Goku grows, there are small touches of maturity in his design, like slightly sharper angles on his face and more muscular definition. But overall, the style stays true to its innocent roots. In the final Piccolo Jr. arc, the designs do start becoming a bit more refined. There is more detail in clothing and hair, sharper lines on faces, and slightly more realistic muscular detailing emerging, but the core DNA of the Dragon Ball art style remains intact. The bigger shifts will come in Dragon Ball Z. Overall, the consistent art of Dragon Ball is a perfect encapsulation of the series' adventurous spirit and charm. It has an inviting, nostalgic feel that captures the imagination. Therefore, I think I'll rank this in B tier. The Saiyan saga represents a dramatic shift in art style compared to the early sagas of Dragon Ball, but still has a similar look to the Piccolo Jr. arc. With the time skip, the characters are redrawn into far more angular, intense designs. Now, the characters have more rectangular body structures and a more defined musculature, even though it does get more defined later in the series. Goku almost looks shorter due to this angular style shift, but that could just be me. For all the main characters, I think these are my least favorite designs in the series, even though I do like them. However, I do like the bigger muscles when Goku goes Kaioken. While this shift sets the tone for DBZ's intensity, the Saiyan saga art is still a bit rough around the edges. At times, the angularity makes faces seem flat, and the bold outlining gives an uneven, boxy look to bodies. Ears do look questionably large on many characters as well. I'll put this in C tier. While the core, angular, muscular art style established in the Saiyan saga remains for Namek, there are noticeable refinements that give characters a sleeker, more proportional look. The blocky, rigid bodies are softened slightly by making waists less boxy and giving torsos more of an inverted triangle shape. Faces also lose a bit of the harsh 90-degree angles to have sharper but more naturally curved jawlines and cheekbones. This helps characters look less flat and more dimensional. Eyes become intensely sharp and angular, further adding drama. Musculature detailing advances as well, with biceps becoming less circular and more sweeping and rectangular, matching the sharper body shapes. More varied shading and lines give muscles added definition compared to the more basic Saiyan style. Overall, these small enhancements in body proportion, facial structure, and muscle detailing help elevate the Namek art style. Fan-favorite character designs for Vegeta, Piccolo, and others also come into their own, looking slick and refined. The improvements create a tense, dramatic visual tone fitting for DBZ's most perilous saga. For this, I'll give Namek Saga an A tier. This goes for the Cell Saga as well, as I don't think there's any real differences between them besides a bit more muscle definition. Also, if you liked the video so far, leave a like and subscribe. The Buu Saga represents the anime's artwork reaching its peak level of refinement and intensity. There is a clean, simple elegance to the character designs thanks to more precise, efficient line work. The angularity of previous sagas is balanced with softer, more sweeping curves in places like jaws, noses, and muscles. This creates aesthetically pleasing proportions where every element, face, hair, body, come together seamlessly. This cleaner style allows intricate details to shine through, like the texturing of muscles and clothing. The high contrast colors make the characters visually pop against the detailed backgrounds. In addition to the refined designs, the Buu Saga artwork has a sense of visual balance. There's great composition in the framing of shots, with characters weightily posed and environments dynamically demolished. Lighting and shading is used to maximum effect, bathing fights in dramatic tones. Thanks to artists like Tadayoshi Yamamoto, the Buu Saga represents the pinnacle of Dragon Ball Z's art style. The art style truly realizes Akira Toriyama's vision at its fullest potential. For this, it deserves a spot in Z tier. To me, Dragon Ball GT attempted to blend together elements from both the original Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z in its art style, though many felt it failed to find the right balance. For characters like Goku, the rounder, smoother facial structures do seem inspired by Dragon Ball's more cute and cartoonish origins, while also trying not to stray too far away from Z. However, the eyes and musculature on body types like Vegeta are definitely more in line with Z's sharp intensity. GT's Kid Goku is an interesting hybrid. He has an innocent rounded face, but his body is slimmed down rather than chubby like young Goku. For recurring heroes, their faces are softened, but their muscularity remains sharply defined. The mix of inspirations is visible, but GT's struggle lies in the execution. The lighting is quite flat and murky, failing to capture dimension. The color palette also lacks the vivid pop of Dragon Ball or Z. While the character designs themselves are decent, besides Frieza and Cells, these are horrible. The poor lighting gives many faces a darker tone, while also introducing that face lighting that everyone hates. This will carry on into Super. Also, a lot of scenes have many characters with awkwardly massive jaws and chins. In the end, GT seemed to want to tap into nostalgia by blending the old and new. But stylistically, it failed to live up to either predecessor in terms of artistry. The visuals came off muddled and lacking in flair, an attempt to recapture old magic that never quite resonated. So for this, I'll put it in F tier. Dragon Ball Super had a very inconsistent art style that was hit or miss for many fans. The series had a very distinct and divisive look. Character models often had an overly smooth, almost plastic-like texture from strong lighting effects. Faces lost a lot of dimensions due to the flat shading, often looking stiff with awkward expressions. The contours of muscles were given a lot more definition, but the added details made body proportions seem unnaturally rigid at times. That said, Super's art did have its highlights. At its best, the artwork produced clean, dynamic shots like those in the Black Goku arc. But the struggles with consistent facial designs, over-smoothing, and wooden movement meant Super had much greater extremes between its high and low points aesthetically. A polarizing art style still hotly debated among Dragon Ball fans. So for this, I gotta put it in C tier. While the rest of Dragon Ball Super had inconsistent art, the Tournament of Power arc saw a welcome change in art direction that harkened back to Dragon Ball Z's visual glory. Under the guidance of key animator Yuya Takahashi, the style was updated with a grittier, hand-drawn look. The color palette used darker tones washed with dramatic lighting to create a tense, ominous atmosphere fitting the desperate battle for survival. Character models were redrawn with thicker lines and greater sense of weight and motion. Faces regained the sharp angles and deep shading that Dragon Ball Z perfected, making expressions pop with emotion once again. The action animation also captured the full contact impact missing from previous stiff Super fights. Overall, the Tournament of Power featured thrilling throwbacks to Z's visual grandeur, while also taking advantage of modern digital techniques. The composition and framing of shots reached a cinematic quality. It captured the scale and intensity of the sprawling battle royale perfectly. To me, this saga deserves a spot in A tier. The Dragon Ball Super Broly film introduced franchise fans to a game-changing new art style pioneered by Naohiro Shintani. After years of divisive, modern Dragon Ball art, Shintani's approach was a breath of fresh air. Shintani's style is simpler and more subdued compared to the almost gaudy level of detail in recent series. Character models have softer lines and more basic shading, harkening back to Akira Toriyama's classic manga art. The simpler designs also make the animation more fluid and impactful. The color palette utilizes muted natural tones rather than blinding neon hues, creating a more understated style of visual storytelling. Faces lose the plastic-like shine thanks to less dramatic lighting. Overall, it has a very clean and easy-on-the-eyes look. As the fights intensify, the art evolves to become more intense while retaining that simplicity. The thickened lines, sharper angles, and more dynamic composition captures the hard-hitting action perfectly. Shintani's approach finally nailed the balance between modern flair and Dragon Ball's hand-drawn roots. The Broly movie's thrilling art marked an exciting new chapter for the franchise thanks to a return to basics. So, considering all this, I would put this in Z tier and would love to see it again going forward. The superhero movie makes the leap into full 3D CGI animation for the Dragon Ball franchise. This gives the visuals a distinctly different look compared to the traditional 2D hand-drawn style. The 3D character models are smoothly rendered and resemble the manga designs quite faithfully. Most characters translate well into this new style, though some like Whis and Beerus do lose some visual flair with the simpler textures. The use of 3D CGI does allow for more sweeping camera movements and dynamic scene composition. The lighting and color palette is vibrant and eye-catching as well, creating flashy ki blasts and explosions. The 2D animated opening sequence does offer a taste of the iconic Dragon Ball style. It features bold outlines, emotionally expressive faces, and a clean hand-drawn look. This portion pops with energy and personality that the 3D portions sometimes lack. Overall, the CGI animation is well crafted, but represents a major departure visually from the previous Dragon Ball movies. I think I'll put this in B tier. Dragon Ball Super Daima aims to kick off an all-new artistic era for the storied franchise. Early previews showcase a cheerful art style, utilizing clean 2D animation paired with modern 3D CGI. Before the characters become children, the designs have a familiar simplicity reminiscent of Naohiro Shintani's work, but with distinctive tweaks like wider eyes, conveying youthful energy. Once turned into kids, the art becomes even more cute and cartoonish. Facial features are extremely rounded, minimalist, and soft, maximizing the adorable factor. Vibrant colors and limited shading accentuate the lighthearted ambiance. This bubbly approach seems well suited for comedy and slice-of-life moments, but rumors suggest the visuals could evolve during action, honoring Dragon Ball Z's dramatic flair. If balanced well, this could demonstrate impressive artistic range. By blending retro designs, updated fight animation, and slick CGI, Daima's style could feel refreshingly distinct. It channels Akira Toriyama's signature charm while forging a new visual identity. I can't wait to see if this reinvented art direction can capture Dragon Ball's spirit while pioneering the next artistic era. I like this style a lot, and it has a lot of potential to be great, especially if we get more scenes like the one where Goku and Vegeta fight in the trailer. All in all, I'll rate this style an A tier, with it having the potential move to Z tier when it comes out. And that's my ranking for the different art styles from Dragon Ball Z throughout the years. Let me know which is your favorite or least favorite style, and how would you have ranked all of these? But if you enjoyed this video, remember to like and subscribe. Also, check out my other videos. See you there.